When you look at the timing of when we opened our business, and if anyone were to say, they opened at the beginning of the pandemic and they expanded during the pandemic, he must be brilliant at what he does. That's absolutely false. That is not true at all. Hi, my name is Jeff Starks. I am the co-founder of Maffrey's Good Goods here in Ivanhoe Village. If I had to start Maffrey's over, the first three things I would do, I would make sure that there is plenty of parking around my building and that our shop has fluid access to traffic. The second thing I would do, probably even at my age, brush up on social media and really make sure that you understand your demographic and make sure that your content on social media is focused in that direction. The third thing I would do my homework on what local makers are in our area and build relationships with them so that we can support our community, give shelf space to local makers who maybe can't do a brick and mortar and get into that business a little bit quicker than we did initially. The most valuable piece of advice, and really it was a statement that was made by Sarah at Good Crowd. She's the owner of another boutique here in Orlando. She said, it's always community over competition. That's what sets a small business apart. That if you can get in your mind that there is enough business for everybody, nobody's here to put anybody out of business, and that if your motivation business model includes just doing the right thing for the community, people will connect with you and the business will come. You get in on helping other people, the competition becomes smaller and smaller and smaller because you're in it together. The piece of advice that I did not take was I was approached about opening up out in the attractions area. We definitely would have gotten a lot of foot traffic and the audience would have been much broader. I knew that our business did not belong out there. Our business belongs in a community, in a neighborhood, so I did not take that piece of advice, and we are much better for it. Many lessons I still use today from my many years at Disney was that I'm still a storyteller. Our store tells a story by the products we sell, our 5 values: US made, women owned, socially good, eco-friendly, and the local makers we support. There's a story in there to be told, and Disney really helped me learn how to tell a good story. It's an easy way to connect with our patrons. The first one may sound a little silly because it may sound, that just totally makes sense, is we have consistent hours. There are a lot of businesses that have really inconsistent hours. And we've heard, even from our own patrons, that they appreciate that they know we are open from 10 to 5, Tuesday through Sunday. There are other businesses that they visit that there could just be a sign on the door saying we're closed today, or they just change their hours and they just put it on their window. And so you've made an effort to go to that business and they're not open. As a small business, you absolutely cannot afford to do that. People need to know when you're going to be there. That was a habit we established very quickly. Again, it may sound silly, but as the owner, I can come and go as I please. I own the place, but you can't think like that. You have to be the servant shop owner because you're there for your patrons. And the other thing is that even though we're open until 5, we're never closed. I have actually been locking the door, had the key in the door to lock it, and someone's walked up and said, "Oh, gosh, is there any way I can come in?" Absolutely. Let's turn the lights back on. Let's turn the music back on. How can I help you? We're never, ever closed. And those are the things that may sound normal, but they mean so much to people, and it goes a long, long way. I know there are a lot of motivational speakers out there who are like, you've got to pound the pavement, you've got to put the work in, you've got to, and it's more fear-based for me about grind, you've got to, push. That would unmotivate me. When I think about, have I ever worked harder in my life than here? No, this has been the longest and hardest I've ever worked in my life. But when you are doing it for all the right reasons, the hard work, does not feel like hard work. And people say, oh, well, you got lucky. And I say, no, here's where I think if you want to use the word lucky, is that I was lucky enough to plant seeds years ago in places that grew Dan Cockrell. I planted that seed a long time ago because I was a good leader for him. And down the road, he ended up wanting to do a book signing with me. That wasn't luck. That was a seed I planted a long time ago and I nurtured it. If someone thinks that they've got to fall into a windfall of cash, that they've got to, put in 1 million hours and they've got to do all these really uncomfortable things to get to where I'm at, that is not true. You have to have a dream. You have to believe it can happen. You've got to have faith in yourself. You've got to surround yourself with people who can support you. And I promise you, those serendipitous moments of people coming out of the woodwork to help you will happen. Period. It will happen. That's what happened to me. I would say good crowd. Sarah, she would offer another perspective on what it means to own a small business and building it from the ground up. And she's got, 2 kids and a family. I mean, that's a whole element that Matt and I never have to worry about. I think about the amount of work I put in, and you add a family, oh my God, that's a whole different respect level. You talk about fear, that's when you'll see fear in me, because that would scare me. When you look at the timing of when we opened our business, and if anyone were to say, oh, they opened at the beginning of the pandemic and they expanded during the pandemic, he must be brilliant at what he does, that's absolutely false. That is not true at all. The timing of when we opened up our small business in the grand scheme of things couldn't have been worse. We had no idea a pandemic was coming. But the bus had left the station. We'd signed a lease. Product had been ordered. We were renovating that space. And then, here's COVID. So we had a ready-to-open store that sat there unopened for 10 weeks. Our grand opening day was the day the city shut down. That could have kicked anyone's feet out from underneath them at any moment. And when you look at the practices that Matt and I do, the faith we have, the meditation practices, the way we live our lives, we knew that, yes, that's very scary. There is no doubt that it was not on our minds. But we also knew that in every aspect, we were always guided. We didn't have time to focus on fear. We just didn't. And that may sound unrealistic. What we had figured out was that we knew we couldn't fail. And it was that belief that kept us going. We knew we couldn't fail no matter what we were doing because we had each other. I keep going in this craziness because it was something that I'd always wanted to do. I had meditated, journaled, I'd done all kinds of things. This store was in the wings for many, many, many years. And when it finally presented itself and I was given this gift, I knew that I had just been delivered what I'd been asking for. I get up every single morning thrilled that I get to come here. I get to live in this space that I've created. I get to be surrounded by all of this incredible product, by all these incredible people who come and shop with us, this incredible community. This is what motivates me. I left the machine and I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. Will this store morph into something else and become something even more? Yeah, sure, probably. Who knows? I don't know. But I know I love being here, and that translates into the energy that people feel when they come in, is that I want to be here. I want to see them. So that's what keeps me going, is that I'm living my dream.